welcome to another episode of the Tea and the Net. The Tea representing Uncle Iroh, and the Net is the Apostle Andrew. And these are two people I think that have wisdom, a sense of adventure, are very kind, and have a positive impact on everyone they meet. Uh, my current guest is Maggie, who Rachel thought had some of these qualities. Maggie, do you know which quality Rachel thought you might have?
Oh, um, I think maybe she would say that I'm adventurous. I've lived kind of all over. Yeah. I don't know. I feel kind of weird because I feel like I'm patting myself on the back, but maybe she would like say I'm kind. Like we have a very, I think, kind relationship with each other. So maybe that's what made her think of me.
It's okay to pat yourself on the back. I mean, I'm hoping to learn a positive quality from you, so you have to recognize that you have some positive quality.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Would you call yourself adventurous?
Um, I don't think I would call myself adventurous because I actually am very cautious in like the things I do, and I really try to like I always make a plan. I'm not spontaneous. I love planning. But I think other people would describe me as adventurous because I travel a lot. I'm learning a lot of like new languages. I love experiencing other cultures. So I think to other people that seems adventurous, but to me it all happens within the context of very type A planning. So it doesn't feel adventurous to me because I'm like, you know, it's all following my plan.
That's interesting. So, I mean, I definitely think I don't really know anyone who wouldn't consider that adventurous, except for, I guess, you now. And it's not adventurous to you because it was very well planned, and so what? There's no like, you're not like scared, or like there's no risk to
Uh,
it, or
yeah, I think that's mostly it. There's no risk to it, and there's not much like spontaneity. Whereas in my head, when I think of adventures, I think of mostly like books like The Hero's Quest and all of those tropes where an individual is presented with is either forced to go on an adventure or is presented with an option to go on an adventure, and there's no way to know like how it's going to turn out, and that's the risk factor. Whereas all of my adventures, like I know when my return flight home is, I know where I'm sleeping every day, so I guess that kind of that takes the adventurous part out of it for me because it's not spontaneous.
okay. So, I mean, do you think you know anyone who is adventurous then? Because I'm not sure, like me personally, I don't think I know anyone who's going on like their mythical hero journey.
Oh, I mean, I guess I feel a little silly bringing up social media, but just the other day, my mom was showing me a video of this woman from I forget where she's from, some Nordic country, but she is just like a woman on her own with her like cross country motorcycle and is just like riding all over. She was in Afghanistan. She got all of her permits like from the Taliban government and was just, driving through the country. And I mean, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of like planning for that sort of trip. Like she had her papers and everything, but that to me is that's a modern day adventure. Like there's a lot of risk involved with that. I assume she hasn't been there before. A lot of things could go wrong. So that's a modern day adventure for me, not like the kind of planning that I do, which really anyone else can do if, they're privileged enough to like afford it.
So okay, I'm not sure which I want to ask first, but I think um what you're doing, sure, like I can agree that anyone is capable of making a plan to go visit a country and or learn a language. But I definitely think that's that's also not like particularly easy, right? Like just like because other people have the capability to do something you're doing doesn't mean it's an easy thing to do what you're doing, and or everyone can do it like now. Like regard like say everyone has the same resources. Like not everyone necessarily is has like that level of courage or comfort or whatever quality that you're claiming is not adventurous that make
That's
allows you
true.
to do that. Like
Yeah, it does. I mean, it does require a drive. It does require like a I think, a thirst for certain kinds of experiences. Um,
So you wouldn't call a thirst for certain kinds of experiences like an adventurous spirit?
I guess not for me because I'm like my thirst is like getting to know different cultures, and I'm a huge history nerd, so I love going to archaeology sites and like learning about the history of like every place I go to. I'm not going to these places to just like, I don't know, walk out in the morning and just like decide what I want to do on the go spontaneously. I don't know, like I think it's not adventurousness that drives it. Are you, but what, I don't know, are you adventurous? Like, do you travel a lot? Like, how does that play with your experience?
I wouldn't say I'm adventurous. Like becoming more adventurous is something I would like to do, and it's part of the motivation for like having some of these conversations. Traveling a lot, like I've traveled a lot more recently than I have in the past, but almost none of it is like my choice. I'm just going where the wind takes other people and they're letting me join them. So I had a
Okay.
friend who was working in Amsterdam. I visited him in Amsterdam. My brother went on a mission trip to Guatemala. I just tagged along because he had an extra room. Like he took a class in Brazil. We could share a bed there in the hotel, so I went. I had a friend get married in Rome. I went to Italy. But those for me that was all very adventurous. I consider that all very adventurous, but in isolation, I wouldn't go on these trips. Like I wouldn't have done any of those trips without the motivating factor of someone else is going and they're making like they've reduced all of the barriers for me. So I just have to agree. And even then, I don't think it was like particularly easy for me to agree. So that's why it's so like I've had an adventurous year, but I wouldn't generally consider myself like adventurous.
Okay. I would call all those excursions adventures for sure. I guess it depends on like what your personal like tolerance is and like what your how used one like an individual is to like doing these things. Because something that might be adventurous for one person might not be adventurous for someone else.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I definitely agree. And one of the things that Rachel talked about was like the adventure of getting a cookie at a new bakery, which, I mean, it is adventurous, especially if you're particular about your cookies,
Yeah.
because that can be quite the risk. I've had some very bad cookies, surprisingly.
Yeah, and with the price of, things in bakeries these days, it's an economic adventure too.
So, have you been on any kind of adventure, like anything that you would consider an adventure?
Um, so yeah, back in wow, this was a long time ago now. And I think 2017, I went to India for 3 weeks. And it again, it doesn't sound like an adventure, but it depends on like your personal tolerance. It was a 3 week experience with my like with a university class. It's not like I was just going on my own, and it was like a group of like 15 of us. But that was the that back then, like real Indian culture was the most different culture I'd ever experienced, if that makes sense. Like I was pretty well traveled in Europe at that point. I've spent a lot of my life in Italy because I'm Italian. And I guess, yeah, I'd never visited a non-Western country before. And there was like cultural shock. There was the food aspect where I wasn't used to like eating real Indian food every single day. Um, and so that felt like a real adventure for me because also the planning was out of my hands because it was like a trip organized by the school. So I was just like following along what this group was doing, which for me, I guess is more of an adventure than when I plan it myself. Um, so that was, yeah, I probably wouldn't consider it adventurous if I went today because I'm much more well traveled. But back then it was an adventure for me. Yeah. Because also I was traveling with people I didn't know. So that was another aspect of adventure. Similarly, a few years ago, I went on a girls' trip with three girls. One I knew sort of well, but not really well, and the other two I didn't know at all. And I'm used to traveling with people that I know really well, and that was adventurous as well. We were in Italy, so it wasn't any place very unfamiliar to me, but it was adventurous because things could go wrong. So I guess maybe that's where the adventurous aspect comes from, is the potential for like things to go wrong, and hopefully they don't.
Okay, so if we gave you a very non-adventurous scenario, but there was like real threat of something going wrong, that would feel adventurous for you.
Maybe if there's like a goal at the end of the scenario, like if you're just in danger, that's not adventurous.
Well, I'm I'm assuming you weren't in danger with those girls, but uh,
No.
like if you had your high school reunion, but the road to the high school reunion, like the fit, like the way to get to your high school reunion was like a game show, and if you just lost the game show, you couldn't go. That would seem adventurous to you. Like there's a lot of room for this to go wrong, but
I
it's like a
mean,
very normal scenario otherwise.
I feel like we're getting a little meta here, but maybe in a microcosm, yeah, it's a metaphorical adventure, maybe. I don't know. I think when it comes down to it, adventures, it probably requires some sort of displacement. Like I think you have to move. Uh, but not always. Like a new job can be a new adventure, even if you're like not moving cities. But I guess it has to involve like new experiences, probably some sort of end goal, and a certain level of risk.
Like risk, like a risk as in a failure to meet your end goal, or is it like a risk as in just any risk?
I think both. Like the risk could just be that you don't achieve the end goal, but the risk could also be that things go wrong. Like if you start a new job, you might hate that new job. Like that could be the risk, because you don't know what to expect from it. And I guess pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. But I guess that comes with the risk. Because some people might consider some things risky, whereas they're not risky to other people.
Okay.
What was your most recent adventure?
Well, I don't generally have an end goal for a lot of like travel I've done. Like, I guess if there was a
Isn't the goal of enjoying like a vacation in Brazil? Like I think that could be
well,
the
that
goal.
wasn't. I mean, that wasn't like particularly the goal. Like, I don't think I had a goal with the trip to Brazil. It was just I live too monotonous of a life, and I'm probably going to regret not accepting this relatively cheap trip to Brazil that my brother and his friend and our mutual friend is going on. They were taking an implant, like they're dentists, so they were taking a dental course. And so I just went, I work remotely. So I worked remotely from the hotel and then
Nice.
yeah, I mean it was fun. I think the closest thing to an adventure though, like I went to Egypt with my dad and I just had like my company was just switching to unlimited PTO, so all of our old PTO was gonna disappear. So I had saved it up because I didn't have any plans. I just like so then I took off like most of December and we went to Egypt where he's from and I was just like, show me where you're from. And that had a goal and that was more or less met and that I would say there was a lot of risk. We didn't do a good job planning because we both kind of were hoping the other person was gonna do a lot of the planning because like I don't really speak very good Arabic and I also don't know like where we're going or I don't know where my dad like grew up. Like I'd never been and he was just like, well, my son is like inviting me out on a trip. I want to make sure he has like a good time. So like I don't want to like upset it like so that he didn't really know what I wanted to do. And so it's like we spent a lot of time just running around, uh, which was fun. I enjoyed it. Like I would say that's the closest thing to an adventure I've been on. Yeah, does that make sense? I think that
I think
does more or less hit the things that you were saying.
I think so. Yeah. I also recently went to Egypt actually, and it was also an adventure. I think just inherently because it's a country that I've only ever like read about in books and yeah, there's a risk in being a place that you don't know and like even just like I don't know, potentially offending someone because you're not familiar with the local customs and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, it was amazing. Egypt was gorgeous, unrelated to adventures.
Where did you go in Egypt?
We were just in Cairo. We were there for 4 full days. But we have to go back because it's just there's so many things. And I love ancient Egyptology. So
Okay, nice.
Fahim and I were in an ancient civilizations class together in high school.
I yeah, I have very negative thoughts on the city of Cairo, so I'll just keep my mouth shut. But
Okay.
like, yeah, it's okay. There's no good reason for it. I just everyone who lived there was very opinionated, so I just like naturally
Mm.
had the reverse opinion of everything they said, for no good reason other than they had a strong opinion on a lot of things. So one of them is like that Cairo is like the greatest city in the world, and like Egypt by tomorrow will be like the greatest country in the world. And I was just like, I don't know, man. I don't know how long you've been here or if you've never been anywhere else, but like, there's a lot of cool things in this world, man. Um,
Is your dad's from Cairo, you said?
no, he's from Alexandria, so he's from Egypt. But
That's
so we
cool.
spent most of our time in Alexandria. I loved Alexandria. I thought that was like a very beautiful
Mm.
city. The air is like significantly cleaner because it's on the water. Um, and they've accepted like more modern influences on their infrastructure. So it's
Mm.
like I could see myself spending like significant periods of time in Alexandria. Cairo, I think is cool for we spent like 2.5 days. I think that was plenty.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Do, okay, I'm kind of curious. You said the other trait you had that you thought you had was kindness, but I do also want to ask if you think you would want to go on more things that you consider an adventure compared to the more, I don't know, the more safe travels that you're normally going on.
Um, I think maybe on in a reduced version, so not maybe grand travel adventures, but having more spontaneity. I guess it like aligns with that theme in a smaller sense, but yeah, I think I would love the opportunity to be more spontaneous and discover things more naturally rather than like, save all of the places I want to go to on Google Maps and just like have a list of what everything I want to do every weekend, which is like basically what I do now. But there's that level of risk where if you're spontaneous, you could have the time of your life, but you could also waste a whole bunch of time because you actually don't end up in the right place and you have to like, call an Uber and go somewhere else, but oh, you didn't check the time, so the museum is closed or whatever. And I am just at a point in my life where I feel like I'm so busy and my free time is so precious to me that that risk is too much for me right now. Like I cannot, I don't, I'm not happy risking like wasting time for an afternoon or a day. So does that make sense?
It does make sense. I think it's cool that you're so hyper optimized that like you can't waste time for an afternoon or you feel like it'll like hurt you. That I mean that's power to you. I waste a lot of time despite my mediocre efforts. But at the same time, like, isn't there like aren't you exhausted? Like this is what you're doing not so exhausting?
It's okay, it's exhausting, but maybe it makes more sense if I tell you a little bit more about what I do. So like my day job, I'm a journalist, but my free like I feel like I have so little free time because on the side I'm working on novels. Like my dream, I'm a journalist, but my dream is to become like a fiction novelist. And because I don't know if you're familiar at all with the publishing process, but it's a very it's a long-term process. with no guarantee of anything working out. Like basically you write a novel and then you have to find an agent and then you have to find a publishing company. And even though every step is like a success, it doesn't guarantee that the next step is going to come. And there's no guarantee that you're ever going to write like even if you write a novel and you manage like that for success, which is like I would think huge because it's like hundreds of thousands of words, that doesn't guarantee it's ever going to be published. So you're like taking up all of this time to like work on this thing that might never actually achieve the goal that like you want for it. So that's what most of my free time is taken up with. So maybe that's my adventure. Like, but I don't consider it an adventure because it's like a long-term goal of mine and it's something that I work on very diligently and there's like no spontaneity because I just like I try to be very methodical about that as well. But because I have my day job and I have this that I'm working on the side in my free time and I'm happy to use my free time for it, but that leaves very, very little time between these two like aspects of my life to, like I have a fiance, like plan our upcoming wedding, like go to the gym, like see some friends, like cook and clean and like be a normal human. And so yeah, the spontaneity has kind of just been, I think, like crushed out of my system because I have this like I have my day job with which I support myself financially, and then I have this like other big dream, which is like taking up everything else. And it's like a very long-term project. And every time, like, yeah, so like a wasted afternoon for me is like, oh my gosh, like I could have been working like on my novel, which I really enjoy doing. Um, so that's what's always like going on in my head. So it's exhausting, but it's like driven by my hope for this other like side hustle that hopefully one day will become something.
I mean, I'm rooting for you. I don't
Thanks.
I don't know anyone who is traditionally published. So, I know it's really hard. Most people I know who are published are self-published or published through like an indie
Yeah.
publishing press. So, uh, if it were, I mean, if it were easy, everyone would do it, right? So,
Yeah.
good luck.
Thanks.
And
Thank you.
I'll read a copy of whatever you write when it comes out.
Thanks. Yeah. When it's published, I'll make sure you get a copy.
Awesome. I would say that is adventurous. I think I think maybe it'll be easier to look back on as an adventure when it's done, but it's like like I'm assuming you watch like Star Wars: A New Hope.
No, is that the most recent one? I'm not a big Star
No, that's
Wars
like the
follower.
original. So okay,
Oh,
um,
sorry.
it's fun. Well, there's just a scene where the protagonist is just tired of he's just tired of being on his like boring old planet. So the first chance he gets to go on an adventure, he goes on it. And then at some point he's like they're literally in like a garbage compactor and like it's getting crushed and they're just in a sea of trash getting like crushed to death. In that moment, I'm sure they wouldn't consider it an adventure, but in the final scene of the film where everything works out, like I'm sure they would go like recall this as an adventure. So I think it is adventurous to have a big
That
goal
makes
and work at
sense.
it consistently, and just like in the middle of the muddle, you doesn't feel like an adventure. I think that's still adventurous, even if in the moment it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, yeah. When shit is hitting the fan, you just think shit's hitting the fan, not oh, I'm at the like the down point of my adventure arc.
Yeah, I'm sure in every hero's journey, the hero would prefer to just not have the crushing like the identity crushing moment and all that stuff. Like there's always like part of making the adventure
Yeah,
adventurous is the hardships or tribulations or trial or whatever.
yeah, definitely.
So the other trait you said you thought you had was kindness. What makes you say that, I guess?
Um, well, I think, I don't know, maybe Rachel would have thought of that when she was like picking the next person to do this, because I think we and all of we're part of like a high school group of girlies that has stayed in touch despite, high school having been a long time ago. And I feel like we're all very kind with each other. Like, I don't know if this was your experience, but like after graduating high school, all of our like friends just phew, like went totally different directions. Like most went to college, but not everyone. Like after college, we like branched out even more, doing crazy things, but we've all stayed in contact and we've all had hardships and difficulties and like heartbreaks and like really difficult points and also really great points. And but we're always able, this group of girls, to like come together and like and just like be happy together no matter what and accept each other for at whatever stage of life we're at. And I think it takes like kindness and like empathy um to be able to do that. So I don't know. I don't think it's just a trait like that I have. I think it's like within the specific group of girls that we're all like kind with each other, and it feels. I feel like the word safe space, like the term safe space, is like so overused, but it really is. Like I feel like we trust in each other and in each other's kindness to be able to like talk about the most difficult stages of our lives and like accept each other and just like be happy with each other at whatever point we're at, even if like I don't know, we haven't talked in 2 years because just like life has, gotten in the way. Like we're no matter how much time passes, we're always able to come back and meet each other where we're at.
It, is that behavior limited to just this group of girls for you?
No, not at all. I have other friends as well, but like other
Well,
friends and like family members
I didn't
who
mean do you
like
not have other friends, but
no, I
I,
know.
I mean this like, more extreme level of like kindness and empathy that you're describing. Is that just limited to this group, or is it limited? Does that extend to all of your friends, or you were just about to say family? It sounds like.
Um, I would say it extends to my family and my closest friends. And then I have other like acquaintances with whom like I'm friendly, but we're not close enough to like share our deepest, darkest feelings. Or, if we don't talk for a year or two, then like we're probably not going to talk again, or like that probably means we've branched out, where there just isn't that level of connection. Um, yeah, that there is, that I have at least with my closest people.
Sorry, I'm not media trained, so like you're gonna have to forgive the
That's okay,
the
no worries.
the pause. I'm wondering like what's the difference, I guess, between being a great friend and being kind. Like, because you definitely can be one without the other, right? So, like, they're not synonyms. Um, although they both help each other. Like, it'd be a lot easier to be a great friend if you're very kind, and a lot easier to be very kind if
That's
you're a
true.
great friend to everyone. But it sounds like you guys are all very great friends. I'm wondering, like, outside of your friendships, or at least imagine it's Rachel talking, 'cause she's the one, right? Do you think Rachel would consider you kind outside of your immediate social circles?
Yeah, I think she would. I hope she would say so. I think she would say so. I try to be caring of like the people around me, whether or not they're my friends. Um, I think there's a certain level of selflessness to being kind that honestly sometimes I struggle with, just because we're all so busy that I feel like it's very easy to just like think about ourselves. Um, yeah.
And so what do you think your like the kindness looks like, caring for, like, being caring or being kind looks like outside, like in these other settings?
I think being kind looks like going out of your way to do something for someone, even in contexts that like maybe don't necessarily call for it. Um, which I guess, yeah, maybe kind and caring aren't synonymous, but that's like when I think of a kind person, I think of someone who's like available to do kind things for others, even when it's not called for. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm overthinking this, but like, what does kindness mean to you? Like, what is the definition of like kindness for you?
That's a good question. I have a very strong association with kindness and gentleness, kn knowing that they're not the same thing. But if I'm ever at like if I'm asked to imagine or when I imagine a kind person, they're always gentle. And they're they're maybe not always nice, but they're always performing an action. There's always like an I always there's like always an action I have associated with. So there's like and then yeah, I guess the
I would.
action varies, but yeah.
So you said like to you, a kind person isn't always nice. That's interesting because to me, when I imagine a kind person, they're always nice.
Well, I guess so. Like in my head, like nice is more of like a politeness than anything else, and so
Mm,
like they're definitely like you can be kind and rude, and I see that. I'm not gonna say it a lot, but I see it enough. Where like someone is being rude,
really?
but doing a good thing for someone else in just a rude way.
Huh. Did you have like an example?
Like you ever see someone like fight over like the bill or fight over like a girl carrying like heavy bags or fight over like the person can do it with like no smile on their face, being mean, saying insulting things. They can just go out and like force it out of someone's hands. It's not nice. Like it's not nice. But it is kind, right? Like
Hmm. That's funny. I don't think I would call that kind. Um, because in my head, kind is also a demeanor. Like it's not just the action you do, but also how you do it. So for me, someone kind wouldn't like wrestle the bill out of my hand the way that Fahim does, but would just be like softly insistent until he or she just like wears me down. I'm like, okay, pay the goddamn bill. Um, but maybe we're getting into the like personal details of it, of like how someone perceives kindness. Um,
I mean that's part of the point. I'm curious to see how other people perceive kindness and whether it's worth learning from or worth emulating or worth ignoring. Um and I
yeah,
was
that's fair.
yeah. Because yeah, one of the conversations I had with someone was like he was saying he basically didn't have anyone that he thought he would recommend for me to talk to because he thought most people learned that he knew learned the wrong lesson from their life experiences. So it was like there is
Whoa.
definitely some wisdom worth ignoring. And he wasn't saying everyone like everyone he that he thought would be willing to come on the camera so like and be
Okay.
recorded. So there were people he thought would be good fits, but they were just like they're not gonna talk to me
Interesting.
in a recorded phone call. So then he was like everyone else was just like, you know, they grew up to be miserable and it's not worth like emulating. I was like, okay.
Yikes. Yeah.
That's part of it is understanding how other people like see the world or see like what a good trait is. Like I talked to someone about positive impacts, and for him, positive impacts is a direct result of his like leadership roles. I personally
Hmm.
am not a leader and I don't have like big aspirations to be a leader. But when I was thinking positive impact, I'm thinking a stranger comes up and talks to me, that stranger leaves feeling like they benefited from it. It's just like they're both positive impacts, but like we're just thinking of different things when you say that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so like I'm happy to disagree on what kindness actually looks like. Um, I mean because hopefully I can. reflect and learn a little bit about what it means to be kind. Is there anything that you think is kind that you think is like controversial in like your definition of kindness or how you see it, I guess?
Mm, I mean, like I wouldn't see it this way, but I could see other people seeing it this way, like putting like a pet down, like an old diseased pet down. I think many people would see it as kindness, but I think it could be controversial because I don't know, we don't do that for humans, you know, we're not like, all right, this is an old sick person, like it's just a kindness to put them out of their misery. Um,
Well, would you
I
do it
think
for an old
that
sick person?
would I do it for an old sick person?
Yeah.
No, no, I wouldn't. No. Um, but so that kind of bothers me when like not bothers me, but like it gives me some food for thought when people say that about animals, like, oh, we're just putting them out of their misery, you know. Maybe it's because I'm a science journalist, so I write a lot about animals and like us humans, we're not as special as we thought. Like biologically, like turns out animals have a lot of like we're just discovering more and more examples about how animals are actually have like traits that we thought were uniquely human. But sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole. But anyway, I like yeah, I don't know. Like some people would see it as a kindness, but in contexts that are like a little different, they're not seen as a kindness. It's much more controversial. So I don't know. I guess that's my random example. What about you?
I'm actually impressed you had something off the cuff. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I have anything off the cuff. The thing is like I generally like I don't really know if I could think of like an example of like say we took a person and I was just like, yeah, this is a kind person, and then someone goes up and meets them, and then they're like, dude, that guy's not kind at all. You know, like I can't imagine that scenario. Like, well, I can imagine just like the conversation, but I don't really know of like what hypothetical person I would construct so that that interaction would happen. Like, what does he look like that I'm like, yeah, this guy's so kind, and then someone else comes up to me and is like, that guy's not kind at all. Uh,
Maybe if the like one person perceives the kindness as genuine, whereas the other person perceives it as just like a fake or like a facade. Um, Maybe that way. Another example that comes to mind that I guess is a little more, no, it's not political. Like, so I live in New Haven right now, and there's a huge homelessness problem. And in the Greens area, which is like park in the middle of like downtown New Haven. That's where like most many homeless people stay because that's where the town gives them some services like mobile showers and like wipes and like food and stuff like that. But the homelessness problem itself doesn't seem to be changing. So I think this is where the kindness could get murky because these services are certainly kind because they're helping these people, but some might argue that actually it's just prolonging their homelessness. It's not solving the actual problem. Like, why are they on the streets? Like, why are they unable to get jobs? Like, why do they not have the support that they need? Um, and so I don't know where I stand on this specific topic, but that's where I could see some people being like, no, this is it looks kind, but it's not actually kind because it's just like it's not solving their problem, you know? It's just like just putting like a band-aid and making it seem like we're addressing the issue when actually like we're not.
yeah, I mean, homelessness, or I mean, I think any political topic is generally challenging because like band-aids have a purpose, and that's why they're there. Because like it would be nice to just solve homelessness, but it's not like having the band-aid prevents you from solving it, or I'm not sure it prolongs it either. I think like that's an example where the the band-aid is helpful, is a kindness to the people who are going to get a chance to experience the band-aid until a solution gets produced or create like, you know, a solution occurs, if a solution occurs. So like because it's not necessarily you're not choosing between the band-aid and the solution generally. So that's why I wouldn't say like if you were, and sometimes you are in some scenarios, I just don't like that one. I see the point. I just don't see like I don't imagine like taking away their showers is gonna motivate people to fix the problem in a timely enough fashion where they wouldn't have rather just had some care in the meantime.
That's fair. I guess I was just looking at it from the like administrator's point of view. Like, oh, look, we've solved the problem. We're
Yeah,
being kind to them, like then maybe there's less motivation to like actually like they've like covered their bases. So there's less motivation to like find a bigger solution.
yeah. Like if someone's kindness is simply like a string of appeasements, right? Like
Yeah.
we said yes to the first thing, knowing that it was easy, and using it as an excuse to never do the second thing.
Hmm.
I can see that. I I think yeah. I think if I was gonna look for a person that I thought was kind and other people are gonna tell me they're not kind, it's because the person wasn't kind, but they just weren't unkind to me. I think so. It's like I don't think I would disagree on kindness with anyone, but it's like if someone's like I had this where like one of my favorite professors, like someone was saying like, yeah, I hate that guy. I was like, what do you mean? He's like awesome. He's like, no, dude, that guy's misogynistic. And I'm like, well, I was never gonna know that on my own. Like I needed to have a woman go be like, discriminated against or whatever for me to find that one out. So like for me, I
Yeah.
thought he was like so cool and whatever. And then he's like, nah, this guy sucks. I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah.
I was gonna need someone else to tell me that one. I think that would be like the normal scenario for me to find out, like, for me to be like, yeah, this guy's really kind, and someone else would be like, no, he's not. But it wouldn't be because we disagree on kindness, I think. I think it would be, you just see different parts of people.
That makes sense. Yeah. Who's the kindest person you know?
My mom, like, and I don't, you know how like some people are like, yeah, my mom is the best, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone says that their mom is the best.
Your mom is actually the best.
Like, like I would challenge you to spend like 3 days with my mom, and then go find someone who's like kinder than her.
Wow. Okay.
But,
How about outside of your family?
yeah, I mean that's tougher because I think part of it is like I know people in a context, and so like
Mm.
once again like now I have this perspective where like just because I view someone as kind doesn't necessarily mean that they are kind, or just because I think someone is funny doesn't mean they're funny or whatever. So I do second guess my opinion on a lot of things a lot now, um, partially because of that. So I'm not sure like because also like there's like I think motivation is a factor. So like why is this person being like, kind? And I don't really know anyone's motivation. Like I think I don't read people particularly well. So like I couldn't tell you
Mm.
like why this person did this one kind action. Not that I don't know kind people. There are people I think are kind. Or people that I'm confident are kind. Like I think Fahim is kind. I think his sister is kind. I think um like some of the people that teach the Sunday school class that I'm like that I teach, I guess is the word, but I don't teach, but like I think they're very kind. But I'm not sure who I would call the most kind or who is like the most consistently kind or whatever. I don't know how to answer the question. Like I could just say names that are good guesses. I don't know. Do you have an answer to that question?
Um, well, it struck me that you said consistently kind. And I think that for me is a huge part. Like for me, someone kind isn't someone who's just like who can be kind, but who I've witnessed being kind in many different scenarios, even when maybe other people wouldn't have been kind in that moment, or there is no cause to be kind in that moment, or I wouldn't be kind. So I think that's probably the biggest factor for me when like one of my high school friends, actually I'm gonna I want to connect her to you if you want to go on to someone else for the call. This girl is just so consistent, like just like always there whenever I've needed her. even when I didn't know I needed her, like just and every context I've ever seen her, I've never seen her be rude to literally a single person. Um, and like I know that she just like wants the best for like everything and everyone. So that to me is a very kind person.
Yeah, wanting the best for everyone and for everything and everyone, I think is as an admirable quality worth striving for. Um, I think
Yeah,
that's much easier said than done.
for sure.
Uh, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna go and think try and find out who I think is the most kind person I know because I'm not sure. It's an interesting thing to think about because then it does help me define kind a little bit more. But I'm not sure. It would be good for me to sit there and be like, yeah, this guy is kind, but he's like just not as kind as this other guy. He's just like,
Yeah.
he's like only like 94% kind, and this guy I think is like 94.6% kind. Um, and like part of the reason I'm thinking this is like the previous conversation I just had was with a guy where I was saying like, oh, like, it's worth reflecting on your wisdom and humility. It's like you can't sit there and like compare how wise I am or like today versus yesterday, and now I'm wondering about the degree of that for all traits.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's definitely food for thought for me from this conversation. Do you? I think we only have a few minutes before you need to go. Do you have any parting words? Any wise words for our massive audience here?
oh my goodness, that's a lot of pressure. um I guess thinking about our conversation about adventures, I do think adventures are good, even though mine tend to be super controlled and planned. I think, like, if you do this, at least in my experience, if you do the same thing planned versus that same thing happens spontaneously, I think you get more satisfaction from it happening spontaneously. So that's why I do think adventures are good, and I do think people should seek out adventures. And I think it's great what you're doing to try to like push yourself out of your comfort zone and go on more adventures. Um, So yeah, more adventures, more hero narratives, more reading.
Awesome. Thank you. And yes, I would love it if you were to put me into contact with someone who you thought would be good for me to have a conversation with, and if they're willing to come on board, I would love to talk to them. I'll let you
Yeah,
go. Thank you for taking the time. Have a
thanks,
good one.
Mika. Thanks, you too.